In approximately 2011, Jamie worked as a voice actor for Funimation Productions, LLC. On one occasion while at Funimation's headquarters in Flower Mound, Texas, Jamie was waiting in the lobby when plaintiff Victor Mignogna approached her. Considering that they knew each other, or at least Jamie thought she knew plaintiff, and that it is a common greeting among creatives in the anime industry, Jamie gave plaintiff a hug. Okay, we have our first problem. We have our first issue. Did Jamie get consent for that hug? Did Jamie get consent for that hug? I don't think she did. She just argued that because there was an understanding, unstated, between the two people, that she could walk up and give a hug. Oh my God. She should be fired from Funimation immediately. That's against the no-hug policy, right?
And indeed, as confirmed by Monica Rial, Funimation frowns down on physical interaction between actors and actresses, as of course, according to Monica Rial, hugging people does go against policy for Funimation, but yet here, it appears that at some point here, Jamie went as far as to hug Vic without his consent. Again, as Nick Rekieta begins to meme this, we are going to be discussing the concept of physical interaction and hugs, and why Vic is being blamed the way he is by the Kick Vic group in wanting to further scrutinize the man and further demonizing him as being the absolute worst person in the community. As once more before we begin, if you are new to this channel and want to be kept up to date with all things involving Vic Mignogna, Monica Rial, Ron Toye, and many of the news and updates involving the Vic Mignogna case, then be sure to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to never miss a single upload. Be sure to go on ahead and slap a like down below by giving this video a big thumbs up if you guys do stand with Vic, as well as making sure to check out and subscribe to my main channel over at UnrealNetwork, to where there you guys will be able to find lots of anime and Dragon Ball content that you guys will not get to find on here. And follow me at Twitter at UnrealNetwork to stay connected with me at all times. And if you have anything you would like to share or tag me in involving Vic Mignogna or any of the parties involved in this case, then be sure to go on ahead and follow me at Twitter. Now, to further kick things off, do you want to know why a lot of people tend to question supposed victims in cases like the one that Vic Mignogna is in currently? Well, I'm going to show you guys a little clip from a video that further goes on to prove the narrative of why you should always question a victim's stance, especially basing it off of an allegation that could be proven to be false. Check this out.
He was a 16-year-old star linebacker with a full-ride scholarship to USC and a dream to play in the NFL, when in 2002, a classmate accused Banks of raping her in the stairwell of their Long Beach high school. But after he was released, came a surprise, a friend request on Facebook from his accuser, Juanetta Gibson.
I remember closing the laptop just like real quick and just like thinking like, what did I just see?
So Banks arranged a meeting with a private investigator who videotaped the whole thing.
Did he rape you? No, he did not rape you.
Gibson later explained she hadn't wanted to say that publicly for fear of losing a $1.5 million settlement that her family had gotten after suing the school district.
I may not ever get the answers as to why I was supposed to go through what I went through, but I know that I'm here today and I remain unbroken.
Unbroken and working to get his life back on track.
And this is why people demand for evidence. This is why people, quote, stand against victims, and the idea that the fabrication of evidence, the fabrication of a story in having to paint someone out to be a monster does in fact exist. It's very real and it's very, very terrifying. This video right here is only one, just one example among thousands upon millions of cases that have went down where people have been falsely accused in doing something that there was absolutely no evidence for, that was backed up solely on lies. As case in point, another video example in which you guys can see on screen, as yet another person was, quote, wrongfully jailed for rape as a teen, as he now helps others falsely convicted. Which the narrative here, going back to Vic Mignogna, isn't the case in point of him having to be accused of something, but him having to be accused of something with little to absolutely no evidence. I have spoken to so many people, which also include many females, that even agreed and concede to the idea that hugging someone, kissing someone on the cheek, playing with their hair does not fall under the terminology of what sexual assault is, or let alone rape for that matter, which is the most serious of cases outside of being a pedo. And this was agreed upon by other women as well, but those women don't count as actual women, right? The feminazis are gonna go as far as to say no, those women are brainwashed. The women that stand with Vic are complete fangirls and they don't seek out objective evidence, which is complete nonsense, because a lot of the people that do stand with Vic over on Twitter, over in the real world and supporting him via his GoFundMe, are women. As many men that do support Vic Mignogna, the same can be said about females that also see the objective narrative here and pointing out simply in Vic's mistakes, but also realizing the fact that the accusations made against him are complete and utter nonsense. But what's most ironic about this is Kara Edwards actually went on to respond to the original person that goes by the name of Perception Check on Twitter that put out the video of Vic Mignogna and Kara Edwards dancing, with Kara Edwards having to backtrack in her stance as she went on to quote tweet, and I quote, "From April of this year, 3 months before my affidavit went public, it's almost like this is targeted harassment to keep victims from coming forward," as you have to be completely brain dead to assume the fact that this is any form of targeted harassment, especially someone like Perception Check who's calling you out for your own hypocrisy in having to state same con closing ceremonies. Kara Edwards was so traumatized, she openly flirted and danced with Vic Mignogna, in which of course she did. She extended herself as seen in the video, she danced with him for about 10 seconds, and that was it. There was no facial expression having to be shown of Kara having to be quote traumatized or victimized for that matter. She was actually all smiles, but then she retracts this by letting everyone know, hey, I was just putting this on for show. So again, if you are saying that you were simply putting on a smile for an act, then once again, you're a liar. You have to accept the fact, and I know it's a bitter pill to swallow at times, but when you're called out for being a liar and there's evidence to prove for that, then simply accept the fact that you're either a liar or you're a hypocrite, or both for that matter sometimes. But in this case here, people are pointing out the fact that you said that Vic had seductively forced you to dance with him, meanwhile you're the one that's initiating it by walking on over to his table, extending your hand, and simply dancing with the man. His hands were on your back, they were not on your butt, they were not on your hips. So what's the problem? Is it the fact that you went along to dance with him? Nothing here seems to make any sense. So apparently enough, folks, if you go along to go out to a club one day, or a lounge, or a bar, and God forbid you dance with somebody at any given moment, that person has the authority now to ruin your life, destroy your livelihood, and accuse you of being a predator just because they were in their fifis, and or simply lying in the fact that they were putting on a smile in front of you just for show, but deep down they were traumatized and destroyed in the fact that you went along to simply dance with them. Keep in mind, dance. No physical engagement, no physical harm happening, just a simple 10 to 15 second dance. That's how far we've regressed now as a society in blaming each other now for simply dancing. But it doesn't end there, because our friendly neighborhood clown Therese27 on Twitter took it upon herself to reach as far as she could in grasping for straws, as she went on to post, and I quote, "This is not the face of a woman who is into you. This is not a woman's face at all. It's the back of her head as she struggles to make this as non-intimate as possible while putting on an act for her fans. She thinks you're gay, and you still manage to make her uncomfortable. First off, where the hell in this little screenshot of yours is any sort of expression of Kara having to struggle, or Kara having to feel traumatized, or Kara having to feel forced to do something against her own will? Oh, I know, Therese is saying, well, you made her feel uncomfortable. You got her in her fifis. Again, grasping for straws, especially when the video shows that Kara initiated the dance, and Kara was laughing and going along with it in dancing with him. Why is this such an issue, Therese? You even stated within the same comment that she was simply putting on an act for the fans. So you're saying that she was lying in front of the fans? Are you saying that she was lying to the fans? Because if I was feeling some level of discomfort, or if I felt taken advantage of, I would have said something right then and there, just like many other people have. Don't you think that if Vic wanted any of this, and if someone didn't want to go along with it, they would simply tell him no on stage, or politely just decline, right? Wouldn't that be the same thing to do? But instead, you choose to wait many years later just to come out with a quote victim story. Hey, what's your story? Well, my story is I was dancing with someone and I felt uncomfortable, so they're a predator. What? It's BS like that that makes you look dumber by the day when you open your mouth in saying ridiculous things like this, especially when there's video proof of them two having to go along with it together, dancing for the fans for about 10-15 seconds and moving on with their lives. But instead, this narrative has to be painted out. The video itself has to be misconstrued, especially by people like you. And it's absolutely disgusting because your only form of evidence, which happens to be Twitter stories, when put into question, you provide no tangible evidence, you provide no concrete solid proof that he had done said things other than, well, I waited and I felt uncomfortable and my feelings and I thought this and I thought that, and you're acting as if we the people, we don't want to see creeps and monsters be put away. Of course we do, but when you provide the proof, because it is innocent before being proven guilty, I know it stings. I know that it hurts your ears to hear someone say, yes, you're innocent before being proven guilty, but that's the way our justice system was set up. And of course, if you can provide all of the necessary evidence, not fabrication of evidence or Twitter stories to prove your cause, then yes, we will stand with you in putting real monsters away. Because guess what? In a world among 7 billion people, not everyone's a good person. We all know this. It's nothing new. Good people exist, bad people exist, but if you can prove without a shadow of a doubt, without hearsay, that a person is guilty of said accusations by providing DNA evidence, photos, videos, anything you can to back up your claim other than, well, I was there but I don't recall and I don't remember and this and that, then yes, we will stand with you. But when you're constantly being called out for your hypocrisy by not just 10, 20, 30, but literally hundreds, thousands of people, and when they recognize a lie, just know that we know that you are BSing the entire community. And I guarantee you some of their responses are going to be, well, Vic admitted to it. What did he admit to? He admitted to touching hair. It's almost the same as rape, right? Because that's what their narrative is. Again, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below, guys, about the comments having to be made. If you guys have not seen some of the falsification of evidence being provided to put other people in jail for said accusations, you guys can find those videos located down below. Again, I do encourage you guys to share this video, share this channel to spread the message of awareness. And I thank you all so much for your support. If of course you guys are new to this channel, smash that like button, guys, especially if you stand with Vic Mignogna. Make sure you guys also subscribe to this channel because we have a lot more content coming for you guys, including Marvel content, DC content, horror content, first of which we are going to be talking about Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So again, if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, that video will be dropping later on this week. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you all so much for your support. We're about to hit 600,000 subscribers on the main channel. So again, I do encourage you guys to head over there, subscribe to the main channel at UnrealNetwork. It would really mean a lot to me, guys. And follow me on Twitter at UnrealNetwork. I can't stress it enough. With that being said, I'm going to leave you guys off with more clips for you guys to make judgments of your own. It's disgusting. I feel as if this society is crumbling because we've reached the point now to where if you hurt someone's feelings intentionally or non-intentionally, they automatically assume that they have the right to ruin your livelihood. And this applies to both men and women. I believe in equal fairness. I don't think that in some aspects people should be overlooked for that matter, but when looking at cases like this, it's always men that are scrutinized with little to no evidence of said accusations, only to be proven false in the end, except if you're R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby. Those people have been convicted, they're guilty, keep them in prison, let them rot, that's the end of that one. But in this case for Vic, there is little to absolutely no evidence at all, and the only thing he's being looked down upon are simply hugging people, including his own colleagues, kissing people on the cheek, and touching their hair. So again, make up your own judgments, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys.
While still standing in the Funimation lobby, plaintiff started running his fingers through my hair. This behavior made me uncomfortable. but I did not object verbally because I thought it would end as quickly as it began. When plaintiff's hands reached the roots of my hair across the back of my head, he splayed his fingers and moved his hand to the base of my skull, then clenched his hand into a fist. In so doing, plaintiff grabbed my hair close to the root and then jerked his fist, which abruptly, unexpectedly, and painfully yanked my head backwards. Plaintiff then leaned slightly in, having already taken control of my head, and pressed his lips to my ear before whispering a sexual statement to me. I do not recall the specific words he said, but I know with certainty they were of a sexual nature directed at me. I felt helpless, out of control of my own body, and grossly intimidated by plaintiff's unwanted and uninvited contact and words imposed upon me. After escaping his grasp, why didn't you say how you escaped, Jamie? I was shocked and stunned by what had just happened. I felt unsafe at my own workplace. I nevertheless dismissed the experience without reporting it to Funimation. Okay. It's a little different from your public statement, where you said that you shoved him off. You must have shoved him off and said, "Get the F off me," or whatever. Plaintiff is widely known in the anime world, has a loyal and broad following of fans, and on top of that, he was one of the most ubiquitous. Man, they like that word, don't they? Voice actors, and they would say popular. Ubiquitous doesn't mean popularity. Like death is ubiquitous. People don't necessarily like it. AIDS is ubiquitous in some countries. Herpes is ubiquitous on college campuses. People don't necessarily like these things. Exceptionalism is ubiquitous amongst the defendants. So is cuckoldry. They're not good, right? I did not feel that I could go up against plaintiff with a wide public persona and vast fan base and still have my career survive. In early 2019, women began coming out with the truths about their various experiences with plaintiff. How do you know their truth? Something that I'd heard or read for many years before from various women. Where? I realized then that my experience was not unique, and I made the brave decision to publicly state the truth about what plaintiff did to me. I thus wrote a statement via Twitter on February 8th so that other women who are victims of plaintiff or other aggressors would know they are not alone. They can stand up for themselves and speak out, and to confirm for all of us that our bodies are our own, and only we can decide what is done with them. A true and correct copy of my Twitter statement is attached here to is Exhibit A1. Imagine the fantasy that these people have. It's like the most dramatic thing ever that they've done here. They've saved the West or whatever. They've done it with a speech on like a battleship or something. I was the only author of my statement, and I still believe it was important to post as a means of showing solidarity and empathy with plaintiff and other aggressors' victims. Since telling the truth about what plaintiff did to me, I've been harassed, threatened, and lambasted by an army of in-person and online trolls at plaintiff's and his attorney's bidding. Not true. Not true at all. Despite the danger to my life and my family, I am steadfast in the need to speak the truth. I have not made these statements out of malice or any desire to hurt plaintiff. I admittedly felt and still feel anger towards plaintiff and hurt at what he made me endure. And I hope his life experiences will teach him to behave differently. That's not what you said earlier, sweetie. But my intent in my outcry was always to provide an opportunity for healing and encouragement, for bravery, for both myself and other victims.